Carrie, who do you feel around you?
I feel my Arcturian guides
Why are the Arcturians here with us?
because of the topic of conversation that we were talking about. And they want to hold space and provide information based on healing, based on love, based on higher understanding. And so, really, that vibration of healing to this conversation.
So, why are we feeling called to speak about mental health and how sometimes we can get into relationships that maybe don't serve our highest and greatest good?
Because there are a lot of people that are now on their awakening journey or have been awakened and using the tools that have been provided to gain healing that still are in some of those thought processes in the past of beating themselves up, if you will, creating violence on themselves on the topic, not to be funny or anything, but we're trying to make light of the conversation a little bit in the fact that they are going back in their past in their mind's eye. They're going back and saying, why did I do this? I could have been so much further and experienced so many things better had I not had those experiences. Or even sometimes you're at a place where you don't even recognize the being who was in that experience and placed in those life events. Like you can't even relate to the person that you were. And so we wanted to bring information and light to understand that it was all purposeful and it was all a free will choice, but it all divinely guides you to make different choices. That's a growth opportunity, it's a healing opportunity, and it is also a learning opportunity sometimes for the other being involved. And so once you realize that, you can celebrate those experiences and give yourself the acknowledgement and give yourself the gratitude for yourself, your team, for the people who were involved in those things, that they existed so you could be where you're at now.
When we talk about mental illnesses, is this actually a mental illness? Is this an actual disease that these people have created for themselves?
The disease, if you were to look at disease, the disease is a long term existence of those energy frequency vibrations. So they are not initially diseases, they are viruses, if you will, something that you could get over, something that's put in your body to make you stronger. Viruses are you guys have been taught to look at viruses as a bad thing, but viruses are things to help your body evolve and create antibodies, to create strength so that you in small doses so that you can be not have to endure that on the grander scale. However, when you allow these vibrations of these energies of the illness in your body for long term and hold on to it and don't provide the antibodies to heal, then it becomes a disease, and then the system becomes breakdown, and then that becomes who you are and a part of the way you operate, and that becomes a part of the way you identify and perceive the world, and that's what keeps you in the cycle. So these are opportunities and experiences that can evolve into diseases.
When we have family members with different mental illnesses, what can we do to best help them and support them?
Now there are some beings who are born in their energy match for their bodies creates kind of a short circuit, if you will, not in a bad way. It's a short circuit. Like the energy's too high vibrational for their bodies. They don't link up. So there are certain things where it's just energy out of alignment. So what you can do is help them. If you know anyone that does any kind of energy healing or anything, help them explore ways to be mentally healthy, physically healthy, energetically healthy, spiritually healthy. So allow them, give them up, help them out, find people, energy healers can help them balance, help them understand that there's nothing wrong with them and that they are divinely and they have a purpose as well on this earth, just of acceptance, holding space for acceptance of other people. No label. You don't have to label them. So what if they're called a certain disease here? So what if they're autistic? So what if they have ADHD? So what if they have bipolar, just depression? So what if they have schizophrenia? That's just a label you guys all need for a doctor to diagnose you and give you a pill. That is all to us, just energetic misalignment. That's all. No judgment. Easy peasy. So when you hold a space for someone to show up authentically who they are, even if that authentic part of them is not what looks as aligned, that's okay. You can hold that space for them and just show them love, show up in a place of love and help them through it, help give them the tools to be able to navigate it, teach them what you know. Teach them what you know about healthy living, about maybe parasites, maybe metal detoxes. Do it in a way from love, not in a place from judgment or force, and really just support their well-being and support their free will. When you make them feel like they don't have free will, like you know better than them, you're making them feel less than, maybe not meaning to, maybe from a great place, maybe feeling like, I want the best for them, so I'm going to tell them the best things and make them do it. No, they are beings here with free will just as much as you are. So when you hold more of a space of love, offering them the support and trusting their free will and knowing that their team's divinely there for them and supporting their choices that they want to have an experience in this world, that it creates this beautiful, safe, fluid place for them to just exist and feel eternally loved.
Now, why do we get stuck in relationships that maybe we know it's no longer serving us?
Because it's comfortable and you're afraid of growth. Because you're afraid of fear of what else, when all you know is patterns and behaviors, because you can look at those patterns and behaviors and you can gauge the safe place, you can gauge how to navigate it. The free world where there's no borders, there's no boundaries of those patterns and behaviors can be scary, can be very, very fearful. And so when you're operating from that place of fear and fight or flight, or of no self-love, no trust in your teams that they're going to divinely guide you, that is a very free flowing place once you learn to navigate it, when you break through that. But it's also a very limitless, scary place when you have never lived that way before.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, what advice can you give to people that maybe they're starting to wake up spiritually and they're starting to see their relationship for what it truly is?
The best thing is to not connect fear, shame, guilt, any of those lower frequencies with with the reason why you were in those relationships, and to not beat yourself up for the fact that you chose to experience those relationships. Whatever that is, if you feel like you start to see and you're like, oh my gosh, I could really kick myself because I should have known better. That's like, what is that serving you? Okay, get it out of your system, maybe get it out, say those things, let it be. But you have to also realize that you're putting that frequency out in the world. So now you're attracting more of that. So, that's another layer to it. But if you have to just purge it and cleanse it and ask your team to take those feelings that you're feeling and to create them and to turn them into a higher vibration, to give you the higher perspective of why you experience those things. And then once you realize it was a lesson and that you were provided that lesson because, for one, your soul is strong, your soul is love, your soul knows it can navigate those things and use those as a teachable moment, and use those to create an understanding, so maybe you can be there for someone else in the future. You've experienced abuse, neglect, hate, all those things, so that you could realize that's not what I want, that's not authentically who I am. And now you flip it and you do the exact opposite reaction. Now you can experience selfless love, true love, unconditional love for self, unconditional love for others, because you know what you don't like. You know that there's no other way to be than those authentic things to who you are. You know that you can experience empowerment. You can experience true support in your life. You can experience just all those higher vibration things because you've learned what you no longer want to experience. So you have opened up your eyes to this beautiful world of the things that are authentically aligned with who you truly are at a soul level, not the programmings, not the safety of patterns of abuse, not all of those things. Those things are just things that are put in your life so that you could learn from them, to come back to self, to come back to who you are.
I have heard so many people online say that when you go through a spiritual awakening, you will end up leaving your partner, or a spiritual awakening just it doesn't work well if you are awakening and your partner does not. What kind of advice can you give people for somebody awakening and their partner has not started their journey yet?
So no one can make a blanket statement like that. It doesn't work that way. Free will exists here on earth. So when someone makes a blanket statement about anything, you're generalizing and assuming in all reality, because each individual soul's path is their individual soul path, and they have free will at any time. They have a higher team that is guiding them, that knows what's best for them. And as they execute their free will create a different experience. So just as so many of you have been asleep one day and awake the next, the only difference between one to the other is a choice, is a moment, is an experience. Just one connected to the next, connected to the next. So to what we would say ignorantly, just state that when you spiritually awake, that it is doomsday for your partner. We don't know that. We don't know that partner's team. Have we talked to their higher self? Have we gone into channeling or any kind of connection with their higher self to have that conversation, or with your higher self to ask those questions? Does that discern that it's right with you? When you hear that, does that make you fear, or does that just make you go, nah, it's not going to be, I don't believe that. It's just a matter of everybody's individual soul contract, their individual execution of free will, if it is meant for them or not. Now, does you getting to a different vibration make it uncomfortable for your spouse who's asleep? Absolutely. It makes them uncomfortable. They're sharing space with you. It makes you uncomfortable when you are in something that's in a different frequency, not in alignment to you. Same difference. But could you also be helping your partner who's spiritually asleep, who was never intended to wake up, just by raising their vibration when your vibration raises and they just start to get more comfortable in that alignment? That can happen too. There's so many different scenarios of when you awaken, what can happen with your spouse, and it's a matter of go into a session, ask these questions for yourself, for your higher self, ask these questions, even, use a pendulum, ask yes, no questions. There's so many different ways you can connect with that information to see and use discernment if that is actually what's in alignment with you.
How do we know if we are in a karmic relationship or if we are in a divine partner relationship?
We understand you were there having an experience, and you are all having a human being experience. We understand that your mind needs to make sense of things, and so it needs the labels. What we ask is, what does it matter if you are in a karmic, a twin flame, any of those relationships, to have that label? Is it more important to ask yourself, your team, use your free will to ask, what is this relationship teaching me? What do I need to know? Ask those questions to guide you through these experiences. Now, if you needing to know if it's a karmic relationship and it's something you're just to learn a lesson from, and if you need to move on, then just ask those questions. You can always define it and we'll provide answers for you, but we're also saying to you, it's not about the labels, and you're moving to a point where the labels no longer matter. You've got to free yourself from those having to have definitions for everything within the experience and be guided in more of a natural way that's in tune to your resonance and in tune to your own intuition of what you need to be experiencing and what the next step is and what your goals, what you want to experience with that are. That's more of a way we want you to drop the labels. Same with mental illnesses. Drop the labels. Drop the labels, people. It's not that you're moving away from a place where everything is going to be what you call fluid, and it's all energy.
As higher dimensional beings, do the Arcturians still have karmic relationships or relationships that no longer serve them?
Yes, we have experiences of things that we want to learn and master, and they are not meant for the long term. And we have those experiences as teachers in which we change and exchange roles with in different lifetimes, but we don't look at karma the same as you do on earth because we actually have the higher perspective and understanding of the karma. They're just lessons and experiences, and it's just energy. It's all about evolution. It's all about evolution of the soul. It's all about evolution. It's all about experience of the soul. It's just to learn. Everything's a learning opportunity. And so, what those experiences can happen on the higher level, they're just teachable moments.
Beautiful. Is there anything else that the Arcturians would like to discuss today?
And if your soul's path has chosen one where it's been in relationships of abuse, of what you would call not healthy, where you wish you could take things back, where you wish you did things different, where it affected maybe your kids, where it maybe affected people you loved in your life, based by your choices, and you really live in that place of regret, we say, go in, forgive yourself, forgive others, ask for the higher purpose and all of that. Apply that to this now moment of the higher purpose, realizing that by you applying that to your now moment, those lessons learned, you are now just creating this beautiful golden energy of healing throughout all of that timeline of those experiences. And that's the best thing that you can do when you live in regret, when you live in guilt, when you live in shame, when you live in even in looking in the past all the time, trying to dissect it as if it was you were a mad scientist, that doesn't serve you for being in this now moment and being at the highest vibration that you can and experiencing the evolution as we're moving forward. Just learn from it, grow from it, accept it, allow it, make peace with it, love it, love that experience, send it gratitude because you came here for a beautiful purpose, and that was to experience beautiful unconditional love and provide that for others. And so the sooner you can stop judging yourself, stop judging the things around you, you can live in that place.
That is so beautiful. So, would you say that when we've been in these abusive relationships, the best way to start healing them is through gratitude and forgiveness?
Absolutely. And the more you can send gratitude to every lesson, you just neutralize it and you just heal it. And you're healing it for yourself. You're healing it for your family that may have had those lineages of those experiences and cycles. You're healing it for humanity. You're healing it for the collective of the all. So it's not just you, but when you focus on you and you just do the healing for yourself, it automatically ricochets this beautiful, profound healing within the all.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your beautiful messages today.